everyone! Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Crypto Countdown! TRI's Crypto Top 100 Review. Crypto tastes great. Never know what the hell the name of this show is, but what the hell, here we are. It's Wednesday, middle of the week, so it's time to talk a little crypto. I've got my co-host here. Ben's actually in the middle of paddling back to his abode. He said he was going to be here in a few minutes. And Paul, geez, it's the middle of the night for him. God bless his soul for getting up in the middle of the night and doing this with us. Paul, you're with us here right now, aren't you, sir?
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
There he is. Good morning, sir. Hope it's a fine day in your neck of the woods. Paul wants to go have a smoke, so I think what we'll do is we'll say quick hellos. You want a quick message to the audience before you go out and hack a butt?
Watch out that Bitcoin is going down to reload zone.
Okay, so there you go. Hopefully that means by the time he gets back from his smoke, it'll be there, and he'll probably have bought. So, if you want to go have your cigarette, that's cool. And Ben should be joining us shortly. Like I said, he's on the road, and he called in and said, "Gonna be a couple minutes late. Traffic's pretty bad." So anyway, I'll go through sort of a quick, my usual overview rant. And I don't think anybody's even watching this stream here. Oh, look at that. We got a couple people over there. Hey, hello, couple people. So hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell. Well, I haven't seen Colleen on the site in a while, so unfortunately I have a bad feeling that the crypto winter is slowly claiming its victims one at a time. And if anything, I spent a big chunk of the broadcast today. We do a 2 hour long video on a daily basis on the site, just talking about stock markets and day trading and crypto and the whole spiel. Anyway, spent a good portion of the video today just simply congratulating people, those people that were able to stick around. We had about probably about 20 or 30 of our sort of regulars that were in the video, just congratulating them that, hey, at least you made it through the bear market. Way to go. Usually a huge portion of the people that all come piling in and get all excited about crypto by this time, and usually probably over the next 6 months or so, they're all of those people get all flushed out. So the irony of all of this, of course, is that it's nothing new what's going on here. I've been through these cycles now a couple times in crypto. This will be my third cycle. And I've been through this sort of whole game in the stock market. I started the stock market game back in 1988. So there was a pretty nasty recession in the early 90s. That washed out a lot of people from the late 80s that were still straggling and holding on after the 87 crash. Then there was a pretty nasty recession, of course, following the dot-com boom, which is pretty typical. I mean, I think, if you're watching this and you're kind of like, well, what's a good rule of thumb? And, I try to do these videos to try and teach you guys as much as possible. So I often throw out little tidbits of information, and if you have the opportunity, I would, in fact, I got the camera on for today's broadcast. Since it's just me sitting here, I suppose I can expand it a bit. That's about as big as Google's going to let me go here on the Hangout. But anyway, everybody should have one of these in front of them. I tell you, this is so cool. This even has the Benner cycle. Josh got the Benner cycle right on, but this is basically my little journal. And you can see I'm journaling away. Actually, I've been doing daily affirmations. Liam and I are going to live together. No more excuses. We are going to get our house together, and I'm going to get him out of this system. That's a huge affirmation in my life that I've been striving towards. I'm going to continue this PMA quest. Keep in mind, I don't make any money for any of these videos and stuff that I do. On a quarterly basis, we open up the school. And people like Paul that do the broadcast with us, and he has quite a following. He sends people over to TRI to learn. But in essence, the school is pretty much our revenue generator. All of these videos and stuff on YouTube and stuff like that, they're all free. And hey, there's Great Dal Moody in the chat room there over on the YouTube page. I think he's a perfect testament that, if you really apply yourself, hell, you can learn how to trade and be as great an investor as you want just simply by watching all of this free content that I do. And just, being a self-starter. Just taking a lot of notes in your journals. So anyway, the camera's kind of screwy. Anyway, there's my journal. Isn't that cool? And we have this really cool merchandise site. I never know what the hell the damn address is. In fact, somebody was even asking in the lounge, what's the merchandise website? And I think, if you are watching this, I think you can go into the library. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's, there it is, TRI Swag Shop. So it's right in the introduction section. And all this fun stuff. I mean, I thought it was so cool. Like right now, if you can see the camera, I'm wearing a TRI t-shirt. I've got a TRI hoodie. I would be wearing a TRI hat, but I don't think the hat's been around. It's not on here. But you can see there's the bucket hat. And what's so cool is seeing all the people who have gotten their TRI mugs. Here is the TRI mug. I mean, man, that is so freaking next level. It's ridiculous. That, like I even tweeted out that should be a collector's item. That's so freaking cool. There's the mug right there. And mouse pads, there's the journal I showed you. There's the hoodie. I'm wearing that right now. There's the t-shirt I'm wearing, although I don't look half as good as she does in it. But anyway, so there's the merch shop. And I think Joe Z, you were asking in the lounge, how the hell do I get my mug? Well, there you go, buddy. There is the merch link, and you can find it in the library really easily. It's just right under the introduction section, TRI Publications. So anyway, where was I going with all that? I was going to tell you some great words of wisdom. Now I forgot what the hell it was that I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Well, actually, there was a couple. So we were talking about the long-term cycles, and we were talking about recessions. And unfortunately, it looks to me like we are finally having this cycle's recession. But a couple things that you can write down as good sort of references. Usually recessions happen in years of 8s, 9s, 0s, 1s, and 2s. Now, I think that we probably were supposed to have our recession there in 1920. But in a weird sort of way, the powers that be really freaked out over this sickness. And they, and it was classic because through the sickness, there was usually what ends up happening is the democratically elected politicians. They say, I was elected by taxpayers and I don't want to go and bail out Wall Street. So they fight and claw and really try and make Wall Street, suffer as much as possible. Of course, that usually spills over into the broader economy, and we go through a recessionary period where the economy shrinks for 2 or 3 quarters in a row. But because of the sickness and the way that they all freaked out, and it was classic. There was this one little right-wing politician who under normal circumstances would have said, we should debate this, and no, we're not going to bail you out, and, you got to, downsize and all that crap. But they just freaked out in the spring of 2020. You remember that in March when the credit markets just collapsed. And there one politician, shouldn't we debate mortgaging our kids' future to bail out Wall Street? And it was just a resounding, shut the fuck up, just give them the money, who cares? And so that launched us into the crazy hyperinflationary world that we're in right now, because they never should have thrown that much money at the market, and the Fed should have never taken interest rates down to 0 and then just leave them there indefinitely, and voila, here is your hyperinflation world that we're living in. A lot of guys, a lot of the economist guys are like, Beamish, quit saying hyperinflation. That's not textbook hyperinflation. But hey, any inflation to me, I think, is a piss off. I'm one of those hard money kind of guys. I mean, that's why we like Bitcoin, right? And any of this, me personally, I think it's all a conspiracy. But I suppose we won't open up that can of worms today. So anyway, the spigots were opened, and then they went, oh, I guess we did a bit too much, and so now we're living in the, hey, we got to claw a lot of this sort of free money and crap that we've given out to people. We got to claw a lot of it back. Unfortunately, I think that there's a big portion of the world that kind of got used to all that free money. And there are a lot of countries in the world that have absolutely horrible balance sheets, but while the United States was just flooding the world with money to deal with their internal, finance corruption in their banking system, I think a lot of international countries took advantage of that very cheap money, weak money environment. And now they're realizing, oh, you mean money costs something? Really? And they're getting squeezed. And I think that the squeeze is going to go on for a while here, folks. I think China is an absolute perfect example of that. I think China's economy way overexpanded. The only reason why they expanded as far as they did was because money was basically free. And they, the Chinese themselves were subsidizing the U.S. Sort of orgy of consumption as the baby boomers moved through the latter part of their sort of peak earnings years. Now that the baby boomers have been sort of fully shuffled off into retirement, and it's quite remarkable to watch the sort of employment demographics just collapsing. I mean, half the reason why we have the labor imbalances that we have right now is because there's no more baby boomers in the workforce. They're now all officially off into old folks' homes and dying, for that matter. Anyway, so welcome to your new world. Klaus's Great Reset, of course, all sprinkled in the midst of that. And unfortunately, I think, the powers that be in the banking system are taking advantage of this quote-unquote Great Reset to also fully dilute the currency system as much as possible to set the stage for the next big round of unfunded government orgy spending that seems to be the hallmark of our society. Wow, there's a mouthful. Blah. Merry Christmas. So, I think on balance, if we're thinking like 10, 20-year cycles, well, no, 10-year cycles. In fact, actually, there was an image that we have in the library that kind of shows you all these cycles. It's not really the most scientific image, but it just goes to show there are a bunch of these different cycles that are all sort of ongoing. And the economic cycle, the 10-year sort of boom-bust cycle, which is pretty typical. Usually we have recessions in years that are 8 and 9, zeros, 1s, and 2s. Here we are in 2022. Because this was put off because of the sickness in 1920 there, unfortunately, I think this recession has to be even bigger. According to all of my work, fear-greed cycles, the demographic cycle, everything was supposed to turn in like 2018, right? And then we should have the recession in 1920. And, at this point, we should actually be well on our way into the new cycle. But because of the sickness, everything's been put off a couple years. So we're going through the recession that needed to happen. I'd actually make the argument, and I've been trying to tell people this, that and especially our sort of 64,000 foot view. I always show you guys this. I actually think that the cycles, things are just sort of progressing, business as usual. If we're thinking 35-year fear greed cycles, then that's this kind of image. I think actually we are well on our way into the new cycle. You can actually see we're about 4 or 5 years already into this cycle. And I fully expect by the end of this cycle, sort of 2035, stock indexes are going to be right up top and everybody's going to be rocking and rolling. Having said that, are we going to go in a straight line? Not likely. But, it's interesting to see how crypto is working its way through this as well. Because I think this is pretty cliche. So, as that last image showed you, the bluish teal, that's the greatest generation, the people who fought in the Second World War, George Bush Jr., Sr., and then the yellow is the baby boomers, and that's sort of like George Bush Jr., I suppose. Bill Clinton's, all those kind of people. I guess my parents to a certain degree, that generation. And here we are just muddling along our way through this cycle. George Benner, that was the image that I was showing you, this image. That right there. This Benner cycle. Take a screenshot of it if you want. Mind you, I can't get the camera to focus in on it without it cutting out. Anyway, there it is. Anyway, Benner cycle. And of course, if you look on the Twitter feeds and all that kind of stuff, all those images are on there. Supposed to go through a pretty tough period here through 22, 23. So, yeah, what a surprise. You can see Bitcoin topped out. There's the stock market topping out in late 21, early, I guess, 22, sort of December 21 there. And we're just slowly working our way through this grind. There is the end of that 22-23 cycle. Bitcoin enthusiasts, you're all familiar with this. 16 through 20 cycles in yellow. And the 12 through 16 cycle in teal. And our current cycle in red here. So that seems to align nicely. I noticed that 16 through 20 cycle... this bottoming window here. Actually, Da Vinci and I, we did a video at this point when Bitcoin was right down here and Ethereum, and we were basically saying, expect 50% retracements. That's what normally happens. And sure enough, just like clockwork, boom, we get your big old retracement. The 12 through 16 cycle, which I think is really more of kind of the cycle that we're going through right now, we actually had to base for almost a solid year before actually starting to march our way higher. And this breakout, this was the second Silk Road auction in November of 2015. And once that happened, then we were like off to the races again. And then, of course, we know that actually, it's probably not there. Well, we know that coming up, we have the next halving event for Bitcoin. In fact, that's probably, where are we here? Let's go up here. And then we'll go here. And then we'll go, I think it was this one. No, actually, it's way down here. Fudge. The good part about this is I basically say these same charts week in, week out, so you should be able to almost finish the sentences here. Happening cycles? I think it's this one. So what does our current cycle look like? When does our next cycle kick in? There is our next happening event window. So that is April 2024. So that would fit nicely with the Benner cycle, 2022, 2023, all that crap. Then, there is November 2015, that Silk Road auction, which I think was sort of that marked the end of that consolidation. Once we got through that, then it was sort of like a whole new world. Then, of course, and I think the same sort of thing, you can see similarly, if that's a word, I don't know. This last 16 through 20 cycle, it was weird how we rallied up and we were marching along really nicely. And then the COVID sickness sort of happened. And I even think that took Wall Street and all the talking heads, or not talking heads, but, like the Fed and all the government officials and stuff. I really think that took them off guard as well. like I said, they had the politicians at the point where they were just like, do whatever it takes to keep the system going. Spend all the money. We don't have any money. Just spend it. Just give it to them. It was, I mean, they were in crisis. What was fascinating about that event, though, is from a technical perspective, is that set up one hell of a buy. I mean, it was just a stunning buy. Let's see where I can show you that. I don't really have these charts up here, so let me try and do this. I'll just ad lib. Actually, probably over here. Nope, not that one. Darn. I hate when I do this because it just makes it feel like I'm all flat-footed. Isn't that weird? I could have sworn I had these things already up here. Well, there's the crypto one over there. All right, well, we'll try and do it here. All right, Brian's talking to himself. Bear with me. 18.9 and change right now. But what I wanted to show you was, is this the daily? Yeah, there we go. This, just to see how much of a crisis situation. I think that the market was rallying and they were getting ready for this thing to move higher. It actually did a very natural 50% retracement of this move. We were starting to climb the wall of worry, and there was the health crisis. The fascinating thing about this, though, is, and this is what I try to impart on you guys, is this was actually one hell of a buying opportunity, this dump down in here. We used to work with a guy named Kevin, who used to love 88.6s. And you can actually see this is a pretty typical setup where we're just going to hunt the previous tag of market structure. And if it happens to line up with a fib, well then awesome. And he had the kahunas in through that chaos there of that sickness market to step in and buy that dump. What a boss. So pro. So, I mean, I don't know if this is going to happen again. History very rarely repeats. I don't think this cycle is going to look like this. I think our coming cycle is going to look more like this. But that's just, my 2 cents. And I think to all intents and purposes, we're somewhere right around this area right now. Notice October. What I'm worried about in the short term is this sort of November through December window, where usually this is the third cycle we've been through this. Usually this November to December window, it's a bit sneaky because you see the price was all the way up there, and now we're all the way down here. But if you change this to like a logarithmic chart, oops, you see that the percentage move from, say, here, let's see, I want to do this one, here down to here is a 70% drop, but, here down to here is a 60% drop. So people they don't realize that this last sort of kick in the nuts that the market loves to do, it can be just as percentage devastating as coming in and buying the top and then having to sit here for the past year or so just waiting for the bottom to come in. There's usually one more big FU. And I don't think that this cycle is going to be as bad, but the last cycle, this was brutal. Where, they basically topped the market. They brought it back down into sort of this 6,000 to 7,000 area. Like I said, about 60-70% haircut. But this last window, notice that that's November, and there is December. It didn't take very long. But that last kick in the nuts, oh boy, look at that. Another 50% haircut right to mark the actual bottom. So, this is 2 cycles in a row where they did this. Should we maybe be thinking about there's a very good potential that they might do something like this again to us? It wouldn't shock me, folks. Just be forewarned. As I had said there earlier, congratulations to all of you that have stuck out through this crap, because that's ugly. And then same thing through this. It's just a pain in the ass to have to go through that. But I'm just fearful that there's one more kick in the nuts that we just have to get through to actually mark the bottom. And the one last thing I'll say to this is that usually into year end, a lot of people that invested in the story, and this particular story here's 2018, so you could actually argue right at the beginning of 2018. Right here, I remember Donald Trump was all, look at what I did. I brought Bitcoin to market, right? And it ran up to 20 G's and then boom, stop. Of course, everybody and their brother, oh, Bitcoin, Bitcoin, right? So they all come piling in. And then right into this window here, this is the tax loss selling window for North America. Actually, quite a few countries around the world, but North America in particular, this is their tax loss selling deadline, the end of the year. And people will, maybe they've realized gains elsewhere, but the assets that they bought here in January, February, if they just haven't worked, then they'll sell them into the end of the year. This is very, very normal in the capitalist market. So with that said, if we look at this year, well, what a surprise. Quite a bit of similarity. So there's 2022. Anybody that bought any crypto names through any of this period, are they going to be incentivized if they have capital gains elsewhere? Are they going to be incentivized to maybe liquidate those positions into the end of the year? And you can see, they would be underwater. And, if you look at like 90% of the altcoins, I'm sure Ethereum looks the same. If I went piling into Ethereum, it's the next best thing since sliced bread. You can see I'm sitting on a massive capital loss. If I've got capital gains elsewhere to offset, well, maybe that might be an idea to liquidate those into the end of the year. So I'm worried that still is sort of the final shoe that has to drop in this cycle. So with that said, wanted to just get that off my chest. Like I said, congratulations to you guys. We're almost through this shit. And once I think we're through this particular year, I can't comment really on Ethereum. Bitcoin, what I do like about Bitcoin is, and this is going back to my old buddy Shane, what I like about Bitcoin, unfortunately we're not quite there just yet, but what I like about Bitcoin is, because it's POW, as an old commodities broker, this is the kind of stuff that really speaks to a guy like me. I want to be hunting cost of production. So you can see here we are sitting at about 1819. The S17s from previous cycles sitting at about 13. The S19 sitting at about 10,000. I know that one of our site members, Cotter, he likes to follow these cost of production numbers pretty closely. I think he figures that this is sort of like retail cost of production. So now you can see that retail now, it's not worth their business to keep going. And I would imagine a lot of retail, small guys, they're probably going to be shutting their equipment down here. But the big boys are still humming along here. And this needs to be updated. I know Shane did a new script. He's got a new one, the S19 XP Super Pro or something like that. And it's got even a slightly lower cost of production number. But the point I'm trying to make here is, when I was barking to you guys, a year or so ago up here and saying, people, this is the cost of production. If you're going to hunt value in crypto, you really should be hunting these lines down here. So now that we're finally down in this neighborhood, like I said, to start off the show, I've given a lot of people on the site who are crypto enthusiasts a big pat on the back that, hey, we had to sit there on our hands. We had to sit there and do nothing. There were some cool short trades along here. I suppose if I let Paul talk here when he gets back from his smoke, he'll talk lots about his scalping and going long and going short and all that kind of stuff. But for like 90% of the people that participate in the market, very few people short anything. So most people are like, well, I want to buy something and see it go up in price, and then I'll make like a capital gains kind of idea. At least now we can say, okay, phew, most of the crap is behind us. And I think I've told you guys before, I'm a very, very big fan of this 78.6 fib, which is this one here. This is based off of, I guess actually, what is that number that I'm basing this off of? I'm basing the base off of $639. I mean, really, to all intents and purposes, Mr. Gann would probably say you should just base it off of 0. But anyway, so there is 78.6. You know how much I love that level. Of course, it is a test of the old sort of double bottom breakout level. And then I think I've told you recently, if I want to get really specific, the level that I'm super interested in going forward is this little window right in here. This low and this high. So that's, if somebody was going to ask me, Brian, where would I want to work stink bids? I really like the idea of working my stink bids right down in this area. Now keep in mind, this is a log chart. So if we want to look at it just on a regular basis, it looks something like that. So maybe it's still a little bit expensive here at 19. I do like this sort of, somewhere between, and really it wouldn't surprise me if we dip down below 10,000 just to piss off all the people that said that Bitcoin will never trade below 10,000 again. Well, just to, like I said, just to piss them off, we're probably going to get some sort of insane tail that goes woo like that and then straight back up. So that's sort of where I think we are right now. That's sort of bigger picture kind of conversation. All right. Had to fill a little bit of time there. Paul needed his good morning cigarette. Paul, did you have a chance to have your good morning cigarette?
Yep.
All right. So you're full of nicotine, ready to rock and roll. And
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw Ben pop in. Ben, did you make it back home?
Yep, I'm here.
All
Yeah.
right. He's here. Right on. Excellent. Cool. Okay. So, we always start off with Brian's sort of crazy rants. In fact, even in the daily briefs, I do it too. So it's really nothing new. I guess first things first, why don't we pop on over and let's see who won the latest contest. Let me guess. I think Paul was bullish.
Yeah, definitely not me.
Look at, hey, Ben. Ben's got a minus here. What did we get? Is that an unchanged? Is that what that is?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much exactly where it was. Like,
Yeah, look at that.
it's
19,000,
within like 50 bucks.
19,100. And look how we've just sort of
Yeah.
flirted around here, eh? We're just not really going anywhere. So that's interesting. If anything, this smells like a trap to me. But we've talked recently about, the last two cycles, the way that they finish is just one more big horrendous FU at the end of it. I wouldn't be surprised if that's in our fate here. But anyway, here we are. I guess Ben's the one who came closest. I guess, yeah, we could have done a neutral vote. That's a shame. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess yellow and orange are on either side of the gray
Yeah.
neutral,
Yeah.
aren't they? So
So since
gone
it
either way.
was slightly negative, I think we got to give Ben the hero biscuit this week. So way to go.
Yep.
You know what we
I'll
should
take
do
it.
is we should I wonder how we can do this. Can you outline the box or something so that we can show that you are actually the smarty smart? Let's go.
I
around.
can probably
What
do
if we
something like
do
that.
that. Did that work? Yeah, there we go. So let's go. Yeah, do a nice black outline, maybe something like that. Guess it doesn't really have this. Oh, there we go. Thickness. There we go. So, oh, that's better. All right. So at least you can sort of see that Ben was the writer honor. Way to go, Ben. You're awesome. Is that any better? No, not really. All right. Okay.
I'll go through the history and do that, and we could see if any
Yeah,
pattern
just
emerges.
for fun. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal. You're going to see that Brian sucks. But anyway, I've always told everybody, don't get into the business of predicting because you actually make you come out looking a little foolish. So if anything, this was a perfect illustration of that it's tough to go into the prediction business. But anyway, congratulations, Ben. It looks like you were the closest this week with a negative vote.
If you want to see foolish, look at my results.
And yet, the cool thing is Paul, tell us, I made 7% compounded rate of return on my money this week, and I'm a millionaire. So, congratulations, Ben, I guess. But maybe you don't want to win this. Maybe, yeah, you want to win at the game of life, not at the game of predicting. Oh, well.
Right. I think I'd prefer that 7% a week.
Yeah, Jesus, awfully attractive, eh? And actually,
Only
I've even
five
told the
last week.
boys that I want to get an account for TRI up and running on Binance so I can just sit and ride Paul's coattails. Because I don't have an account on Binance right now. I used to have one for the Canadian account, but we're shutting that Canadian company down. So.
Yeah, right. Maybe there's a way to automate it. We could just
Could be. I swear, Paul, that you put together a year or so, like I'd say 2 or 3 year track record, and you could probably go to Wall Street. I've told Josh that. Josh had his, and I'm not even quite sure what the heck happened to him. I can't corner him and get him to talk about it. But Josh had this really cool, back at the beginning of the year, he was running an algorithm. And it was doing very, very well in the market. It might take me a while to find it. So, whoops, what the hell just happened there? Something went wrong. Yeah, they don't like us looking at TRI. Suppose. Anyway, so the point being that Josh does it. Isn't that interesting? Twitter doesn't like us. Anyway, Josh did have a. Actually, I wonder if maybe we call it like TRI breadth. He was trading the breadth indicator. Yeah, here we are with all the signals. And I thought he was doing very, very well. So anyway, it's kind of off topic, but it's not weird. I don't even see it now. Should probably do a little bit more prep before we pop on these shows. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to put that away for now. Anyway, the point is, and I suppose Paul will have it. And I like, this is a nice combination, the mix that we have with Ben and Paul on the call. And Paul has a nice little newsletter that he likes to walk through. So you get a little bit of what Brian's seeing and then a little bit of Paul. And then we sprinkle in a little bit of Ben. And the app, and I'll tell you, this app is looking super cool. I think we need to figure out a different way to put the disclaimer on here. But you can see Ben's trying very hard to make this look as professional as possible. I'm so proud of Ben. This app is just so next level. It's so cool. Along with all these cool posts that he has in there. Just totally awesome. Anyway, so I'll let Ben speak to that in a bit. So... prices come off here a little bit. I've been talking to the site people. I don't know. I'm sure on the Broiler Chicken Show on Wednesdays, the message is basically the same. But, we might as well, just for posterity, have a mention of it. Josh has been working away on the blog, and of course I've been constantly making reference to this image, this blog post. This is what theoretically years ending in twos sort of average in the stock market. So I actually don't mind the idea that the stock market wants to go higher. I think just what's going on here right now, because it is a socialist government, there are a lot of socialist governments around the Western societies. And I believe that a lot of that socialist government was nothing more than just a negative reaction to Mr. Orange Toupee and all that stuff a couple of years ago. So I don't even think that the American populace really is this socialist as their government sort of implies. And really the same thing in my country. You're seeing a huge, municipal elections and all those kind of things. Massive backlash going completely the other direction. All this sort of defund the police kind of movements, huge backlash. Now in Vancouver, it's like give every police officer a rocket launcher and get after those criminals. So my hunch is half of the reason why, and you see second year new Democrat president, although you can't see it because the picture's over there. Second year new Democrat president. This is basically Sleepy Joe. And that's this dotted line. I don't. Can you see my mouse? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can. So that's this dotted line, and unfortunately, you can see heading into a big election down in the United States on I think it's the 8th of November. You can see they really the prediction sort of based on previous socialist sort of leaning presidents is they actually take the market to new lows into that event. And also, too, we have a couple celestial people that are super jazzed about that kind of stuff on the site. And it turns out there's supposed to be a really nasty eclipse coming up here that we humans, we don't act very well. And I can even see, we have a couple, we have this Portugal Dream project, my affirmations. I am very thankful and grateful that we have the opportunity to bring this Portugal campus to reality. I don't really want to go out and start really working the phones and the lines and stuff and getting all the financing lined up until after this event, because right now I can even feel people are very touchy and emotions are running extremely high, and I just want to get on the other side of this event, and then I'll start coming and talking to you all. So, point being that theoretically, we should end the year on a fairly positive note, but because of the current sort of political backdrop, and of course, what a surprise, the Democrats look like they're losing, so all of a sudden, mysteriously, here comes another big sickness. I won't comment on the coincidental nature of all that to inject a bunch of fear into the populace. My hunch is that the socialists are going to be told to go screw themselves, and there's going to be a big backlash going the other direction. But that's just a hunch. But to explain how we can get some sort of monstrous rally in risk assets into the end of the year, actually it would make sense, because I don't know whether you're aware of this or not, but why would the stock market do really poorly in this sort of situation? And it turns out that markets absolutely hate one-directional governments, and it makes sense, because if one of these Western sort of democracy, quote-unquote, societies, if we have these situations, Obama, when he came into power after the George Bush and Dick Cheney craziness, that was a reactionary government, and the market did crappy through that 2-year term when the Democrats owned both the Congress and the presidency. Same thing here. And if there seems to be, like, if the market believes that there's a balance in government, which usually is kind of like, all right, that means no change, status quo. Nobody's going to go and screw with the rules. The capitalists, they're much, much happier to go out and start new business ventures and do financing deals and stuff like that. So I do believe that that's a big chunk of what's going on here. And, coincidentally, this lines up nicely, of course, with the whole, Benner cycle, the generational shift, and the Bitcoin correction cycle. I mean, it all works so nicely. So I honestly think once we're through this election, I think we're going to have a bit of call it a dead cat bounce on the other side of the election. I don't know, but, over this next couple weeks, things could get a bit dicey, right? The actual election isn't until the 8th of November. And then, of course, like we said, November, early December in crypto usually doesn't go very well anyway. I noticed that some government is investigating the FTX and that Sam Bankman-Friedman guy. So I don't know, maybe that'll spill over into a problem in crypto. Crypto right now, unfortunately, I think is being tarred with a very wide negative brush. Both sort of, from the tax evasion sort of perspective, a lot of countries are really buckling down in that regard. But also, too, hearing a lot of talk, from the regulators and stuff that they really want to try and clean up all the scams and stuff that have permeated this space. So if anything, perfect. Let's get it done through this troughing part of the cycle. We hit the reset button, put in a nice base here over the next year, get through the Benner cycle, get into having talk kind of conversations. All the old people that chased the top of the market, they're all washed out, and we start the whole damn cycle all over again. I like that thinking. So, okay, so that's sort of your big picture kind of look. Unfortunately, it's not really the most optimistic here in the short term. I will say, before I sort of turn it over to Paul, that we've been watching this downtrend line for quite a while. It basically defines the trend in Bitcoin right now. You can see 1, 2, 3 tags. So this is pretty legit. We have broken through it. And then the question just ultimately is, can we W out on the other side of it? If we look at this from a clothesline perspective, I think the W is trying to happen here. But I suppose from a clothesline perspective, that's being tested in earnest right now. Because of this clothesline perspective, I actually put out a tweet. Might have been a bit premature. I have a bad habit of doing that. Usually I'm right. I think there is some sort of rally heading into the end of the year. But unfortunately, usually I'm a bit early too. So sometimes I get a little excited and a little bit premature. So what did I want to show you? I want to show you this. I saw a signal there the other day that actually got me pretty enthusiastic. I had, my OBV indicator was trying to W out, my RSI indicator was trying to W out, and my Williams percentage R indicator were all trying to W out. And that was based primarily on that clothesline buy signal. Is that a bit early? Maybe. It's funny how we used to call this on the site a Davo. And I even put a shout out to him, although I didn't really hear back. And I would imagine he probably doesn't really want to have anything to do with me nowadays. But I got the impression that we were trying to turn the corner here. Also, too, in the stock market, I had big, wide, fat W's. I mean, geez, that looks like Brian's butt. It's so big. And that was on big, wide divergences in momentum with my oscillators coming out of oversold conditions. So that looked pretty uppy to me. And the internal indicators on TRI's site, our breadth indicator was looking extremely bullish. So, put it all together, I think we're very, very close to some sort of pivot here in the market. The only issue is we got to get through this damn election. And are they painting some sort of FU move here right into the sort of second half, latter part of October here? That final FU that sort of breaks everybody's hearts. I thought you said this was a bottom, and they go on one more dump ahead of that election into that eclipse to kind of hoodwink us. And I actually was feeling bullish of the market, and I actually even strapped on along coming out of this consolidation. And then you notice, boom, 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 and I was talking about this in the daily video today, bearish MACD divergence. Willie actually went from stupidly oversold to stupidly overbought. Started to get 8s and 9s on our Tom DeMark indicator. You can see when we get 8s and 9s, oh boy, you got to be careful. And then I get a darn double top breakdown in price here. And so on that event, I just pulled the longs off. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just let this thing settle down. In fact, actually, the trade was on the Dow. So there it was. You can see too many reasons for me to just get cautious right now. So I took the long off, and I'm just, if this thing can give me any reason to get back in on the long side, then I'll entertain it. But I don't have anything to work with just yet. And I'm worried because unfortunately we do have a big monthly options expiry coming up day after tomorrow. And usually what they do is they actually dump the market into the Thursday. It might be interesting, just since this is the Bitcoin show, we maybe should, before I release Paul, we should probably just go and see if there's any sort of tells in options land. Although I don't know whether we can actually use this or not. Yeah, this might not work. I don't know. Like it's one exclamation mark, right? Would be the Bitcoin futures. Because it's a future, expiry is going to be slightly different. But, you know, just the open interest might be interesting information. So there's the October contract. There's the November contract. I don't know. Usually these options expire at the very end of the month. 18,990. That's basically where we are right now. Can we get any information, any usable information out of the options? The easiest way to think about this, and somebody even helped me, is what we want to look for is what's the heaviest open interest. So these options expire in 11 days. They expire at the end of the month because it's a commodity contract. It's not a stock. Stocks, and you know, it might be interesting to look at things like coin, some of the Bitcoin ETFs and stuff that are on the market to see whether there's any implications into this Friday. This option in particular, it expires all the way over here. But nonetheless, where's the heaviest open interest? Because that'll give us a pretty good idea, especially on the put options, because most puts are written by institutional players. So that'll give us an idea where the institutions think a bottom is in price. So this is the calls, at least I think it is. Maybe it isn't. Maybe actually they're both. Oh yeah, okay, so they're interlingued. Let's go side by side. All right, so there's the calls. There's the puts. Where's the heaviest open interest in the puts? And it appears to be 17,000 and 16,000. That's a little dangerous. So there we are up at 19, 19.5. So I would actually argue that the street thinks that the floor is down here at 16 and 17. That's probably important information to keep in mind. Let's see what they're thinking for November. I think I like to do it side by side. All right, so then we can see 86. There's 100. So that's 19.5. Ooh, look at that. So 20,000. There's a pretty big open interest in November. In the 20,000 area. So if anything, what this tells me is I think this is this kind of scenario where they're thinking there's some sort of dump into the end of the month, 16, 17,000. And if you're looking for a hot date, Mr. Tinder Hot XYZ says the best adult dating site on the internet is his link. So there you go. Go check that out. And let me know if you meet your wife, your future wife, or husband, I suppose, for that matter. But back to our conversation. Interesting how this dumps into 16, 17,000, the heaviest open interest, into the end of the month. And then it springs back and actually heaviest open interest up around 20,000 following into the November expiry. So that actually corroborates nicely with that kind of thinking that there's some sort of funny little dump here into the end of the month. While Paul's chit-chatting, I think I'll go look at a couple other stocks and just see if there's any options information around the expiry day after tomorrow that might help us there. But Paul, what do you think? Are you ready to jump into your presentation here for us tonight?
Yep.
Yep. All right. Yep, it is. I'm going to minimize my picture because while Paul's talking, you don't need to look at me. Paul, do you want to screen share?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can do this. I'll stop presenting. Boosh. There is the P for Paul. And let's see what he's got for us. Ooh, looks nice. You could maybe maximize your screen. Can you hit F11 and that might get rid of all the other quotes and
No
stuff on
problem.
your screen? It's up to you, I
Yeah,
suppose.
I know, but doesn't work on my side.
Oh, okay.
I'll put 150 maybe,
All right.
something like that.
All right. Well, that's here nor there. I will put myself on mute. So tell us the story, sir. What do you see happening in the marketplace here?
Yeah, let's start with weekly newsletter. Last week, most of the time I was scalping, and we post 5 trades, 4 wins and 1 loss. 5% on the trades we post complete ideas with stop loss and take profit. We did more than that on scalping and day trading, but the complete ideas were posted on the channels was, well, we had only 5. Not too much to do in this kind of the market. It's profitable to trade the range and make money, but you have to day trade. For a swing trader, it's a bit hard to get a clear setup. On weekly chart, I don't see any volatility. I see the same price in the last couple of weeks, maybe 1 month now. 19,000, 20,000, 18,000. The price, the volatility is out from the Bitcoin market, at least on weekly chart, on daily chart. We still have this support at all-time highs from 2017. At the moment, it's still holding, but I get the same feeling like in 2018 when everyone said the 6K was the bottom. Let's hope I'm wrong and we'll pump from this level. But we have to wait and see what happens in the next couple of months. On daily chart, same as last week, reload zone and reload zone. Now we are the other side of the trend line. But like Brian said at the beginning, we don't have a clear W. I have to see a clear W for me to become bullish on daily time frame. We have the other side of the trend line. Now we have a ugly tail. I don't like that. Usually that tail has to be tested at least 50% or 60% of the that tail. At this moment, right now we are at 19,000, and I'm still waiting on daily time frame for a clear setup. I don't have anything. It's too late for me to short at this level, at least on daily or 4 hour chart, and it's a bit too early to frame along. So I'll stick with day trades and scalping until I'll get a clear direction. The indicators show some bullish divergence on daily chart. I like that. Bullish divergence on MACD, bullish divergence on RSI. OBV, no, it's just tagging the trend line. But we see some signs that the market's a bit stronger than it appears on the price action. But until I'll get a clear W, and even if I get a W, I'll wait for the breakout of the W from the W and then a retest. And then I'll prefer to enter at the retest. It's a safer way to trade, at least in this environment. On 4 hour chart, what I saw, same range. It's a bit older now. We have 1 month of ranging in this 20,000 to 18,000. 22K and something range. It's profitable for a day trader, even for a swing trader if you to hunt only the top and the bottom of the range. But now we are in the middle of the range, so I don't have any idea. I prefer to let the middle of the range play itself out and hunt for a short in the top of the range, long in the bottom of the range. Last show was before this drop. I was expecting this one. We made nice money long in this touch of the lower part of the range, top, and now we are back in the middle where no man land. I don't like to trade in this area. Let's go back, go on dominance on for the chart. Same idea, just bounce from the bottom of the range. I don't see a clear W. I don't see anything. I'm expecting at least to form a nicer, clear W and see the Bitcoin dominance going up to the middle or to the top of the range. At this moment, was just a dead cat bounce. Just a AB equals CD, a nice bounce. Now I'm thinking we'll range a little bit and then we will see if we have enough power to go back to the top of the range. Ethereum versus Bitcoin on 4 hour, on 4 day chart in the middle of the range, like we saw a couple of weeks ago. Top of the range was rejected. Now we are back in the middle. Even at this moment, we are in the same area. I don't see anything special in this one. It's just ranging in the middle of the this big range until we see a clear sign where he wants to go. I just leave it alone. I still expect a retest of the bottom of the range. You see, at the bottom of the range, we have a nice W. Wasn't retested. Maybe a bank of check at the breakout of the W could be a nice level. Total due, nothing to do. Same from couple of months now. Reload zone and reload zone. Uh, you see that thick green line is the all-time highs from 2017. It's behaving like support, but it's just tagging that line, just ranging in this area. Nothing, not a clear view about the market with the total two. I post usually the calendar with big news for this week. So we had yesterday we had these two building permits and housing starts, and home sales will happen today. Keep in mind, on my time zone it's already Tuesday, so we have this news today. I think I'll coin for little old lady DCA plan. Yeah, it's okay to buy on small nibbles on 0.5%, even lower than that. People with DCA plan, same idea, but don't sell your house and buy altcoins or Bitcoin at this moment. We can easily go 50 to 80% lower than the current prices. For swing traders, maybe wait for a clear W. And day traders, you can hunt longs and shorts all day, as we do on the site on the group. I had some ideas, so seems like this one is right now is going to that level. On RSR on 4 hour chart, I was hunting for 0.0055 or something like that. Now we're just tagging that level even in this moment. Could be a nice opportunity for a long. You have a small window of risk on this one. Nice pump, nice dump back down. If you want to wait for a clear W, yeah, it's okay. Below reload zone, really nice. I hunt on this altcoin. I hunt on spot market, so I'll buy at this level at 88.6. If I'll get a 2 to 1, 3 to 1, I'll sell the to get my money back, and the profit will I'll keep it on an RSR, so I'll get free coins. Same idea like a little old lady, but on shorter time frame. I don't wait for the price to make a double. I just put a trade, and the profit I converted in free coins. Away. Oh, my way to get more free coins in a bear market. Link, I was hoping for a retracement and reload zone at 78.6, something like that. We have that level now. People who want to get a clear setup, wait for a new W in this moment. We don't have a clear W in reload zone. Only have a tag at 78.6. Solana, I said wait for a W. Seems like the W never came. We are back to $28 at this moment, even a bit below, I guess. Until I get a clear W the other side of the trend line, I'll just wait and patiently waiting for a W. There's nothing to do. This one could go 50% lower pretty easily. I still remember the time I bought Solana at $3 or $5, something like that. So still pretty high for my taste. Alpha, same idea. We had a nice pump, nice dump back down. Now we're just tagging the lower part of the. I guess we are at 88.6 reload zone, below reload zone. So could frame a nice trade on this one on 4-hour chart, I guess. Personally, I think we are on hard and very hard mode on crypto markets, on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Not an easy market. Last week, I had a few swing trades and a lot of scalping. This week, the same. I don't see a clear W on a 4-hour chart. I don't see a clear W on daily chart. I don't have any reason to put a swing trade. But on day trading, on 5 to 50 minutes to 30-minute chart, I could easily find a short setup or a long setup. I prefer to stay on Bitcoin and Ethereum at this point. It's more liquidity, more stable. I could find easily more setups. But in this environment, even if it's a range, we are in the middle of the range. I don't have anything to do that to just to scalp day in, day out, same process. In the morning, I just frame the market, looking at 4-hour chart, daily chart, establish the support, the resistance, the levels for that day, and just hunt uh, scalps all day. Sometimes it's really profitable, sometimes it's not so profitable, but in time, over time, I'm consistently profitable. That's most important thing. You don't want to be right, you want to make money from this market. As you can already see in the crypto show, I'm the worst performer on predicting the markets. But I don't trade my opinion. I'm trading trading my setups. And don't forget, treat trading like a business, and market will treat you like a king.
Don't forget that, folks. Words of
Never.
wisdom. Words of wisdom. All right. Did we get a little song and dance?
No. That's it.
Totally awesome. Great stuff. If you were going to summarize, what I saw on your chart was that Bitcoin is sitting basically middle of the range.
Yeah.
So if you were going to summarize, my feeling is for the time being, I am doing what?
Just ranging in this area from 18,000 to 20,000. Just range. Just stopping newbies out, because everyone will short at the bottom of the range and long at the top of the range, and is not the correct way to play the range, and just taking money from the newbies at this point.
Yeah.
When we'll not have enough business, enough liquidity in this area, we'll go to next one, up or down. And usually in my experience, when I see such a range, I'm trying to put the parking garage up and down. So I know the market will do another range to the upside or to the downside. But now, just the middle of the range, the worst location possible to trade.
Mm-hmm. It's
And
interesting how Tether Bitcoin, it went right down to the bottom, eh?
yeah, exactly.
Um, okay, I'm trying to see your chart level. So, and I even put a shout out to you on social media. I was so impressed with that call last week
Yeah, was this
that
magnet
you
and this
said you
area.
were going to step in and buy against the bottom end of the range there if you got that.
Yeah.
Did you actually go ahead and pull the trigger on that?
Yeah, I had two setups. I had the Shark and I had an SFU setup. And I was on Futures. This is the spot market, but on Futures we even got the lower low. So
Ah,
I was filled on the SFU setup,
oh, sick.
but I got a 3 to 1, 3.5, something like that on that
Cool.
setup.
And
Yeah.
so does that go into your matrix of your trades this week, or was that something completely different?
That one was posted. Yeah, I
Yeah.
had was posted. It's in that result.
Good. Well, congratulations. Nice trading. Um, all right. Quarter past the hour. Where should we go next? Ben, what's picking your brain this week? What are you thinking?
Do you want to go down that rabbit hole?
Oh, of course. I love getting your perspective. This
Um,
is assuming that you're finished, Paul. Are you finished your
Yeah,
presentation?
yeah.
Okay.
I could look at some altcoins, but almost all of them they look the same. We don't have a clear W more on a higher time frame than 4 hours, so I don't think it's a good idea to step in at this moment. Wait for a clear setup.
Okay. So why don't we? I'd love to just hear what's on Ben's mind,
Yeah,
and then once he's said his piece, then I do see we have two or three different requests in the chat. So maybe somebody can volunteer to pull up a chart when we go through those, and we'll do our little TA magic on those ideas.
yeah. Why not?
So Ben, what's on your brain? What's all this about rabbit holes? What are we gonna get into the business of hunting wabbits? Is it wabbit season already?
I'll pull up a chart. I've got
Sure.
a
Do you see that the
another.
crazy ass news about the flesh eating bacteria in Florida now? Oh,
Oh no.
you haven't
Is
heard about
anything?
any of that?
Oh no, no, I haven't.
I think we get
Oh boy.
programmed up here in the north to freak out. I got a funny feeling somebody's trying to push our buttons.
Okay,
I've
yeah,
had
there's something crazy and newsworthy going on in Florida.
it almost
Yeah,
seems
all
like
the
it's
time.
on a regular basis, eh?
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah.
All right, so
All
we see
right.
your cool logo.
Okay.
Did you want to screen
Um,
share?
yeah, I'll share a tab. This is a literally a thought that jumped into my head yesterday, so
All
I'm gonna
right.
see if it comes out. And we'll see here. We'll
Here we
see
go.
this here.
Ben. All right, sweet. We got the
All
Bitcoin
right.
US dollar 1 week index chart. So what's on your mind?
Cool. So as I often do, I kind of just pull up the Bitcoin chart and play around with it, and I'm working through all of the different course material that I'm trying to soak in and get a good understanding of. Um,
Where are you?
and
You're mid level 3 now, eh?
no, I'm still in hiatus between 2 and 3. So
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
yeah,
Well, you're
yeah,
digesting all the because level 3ers just did harmonics, and oh boy, we had harmonic patterns everywhere.
right.
But I can't
Okay.
talk about that stuff with you two.
Not yet. Can't wait. Um, yeah, so I was thinking about like the idea of this kind of bottoming action and setting expectations for like how long could I think that could go for it as just from a different perspective
Mm-hmm.
and using this move down here to kind of like can you project out in time as the market's coming down, making lower lows, how far into the future we might get to a point where we break out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where this kind of jumped into my brain, and I just drew it up now. But essentially, imagine that down move is the 100% of the entire move out. So market comes down, it makes a 50% retracement, and 50% of the time it takes to from there to there.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you 150%. And then going out, doubling that makes it 300%. So that could be a W, it could be a bunch of head and shoulders, it could just be a big saucer, nice wide saucer that kind of just goes up and down and bumps along. But does that have any legs to it? This idea of a 300% using using now move down as the projection. And so I like these little fib time zone tools because you can actually set that up like that. So I've got this set so that there's a 1.5 there, and then there's the 300%. So I took it from there to there, that down move, and then projected out, okay, how long might it take for us to work our way out of this channel? And I think there's a lot of GAN in that. And so, yeah, let's take this little tool and see historically if it works. And hint, hint, I've already gone and done it ahead of time. So there's 300% there. And I think it's a pretty good little tell of how long it takes the market to kind of work through that channel and come on out the other side.
Yep.
And then over here, once again, I get the bottom there. That kind of worked out as a nice little projection. So you're down here and you're thinking, okay, how long might it take for my investment to come good? And I'm going to make it a round trip back to the previous all-time highs. You're over here in December 2018 and you're thinking, okay, maybe December 2020 could start to see something, and then let's say this is the bottom based on that kind of logic. Yeah, looking out to kind of October 24.
Why would you pick that high? I like that better.
Well, yeah, you could do that.
That's assuming. So you're assuming that the bottom is in. I don't think the bottom's in yet.
Right. And so as the bottom comes down further and further, it'll go out further and further. So you can you would use this as like a projection tool as the market works its way down, and to give you an idea of
we gotta be pretty close because
the
next halvening event is supposed to be in sort of like April 24, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and the last halvening event, it might be interesting to do that last cycle, The 300% is the breakout. Where was the happening event? I think it was. I think it was like May of 2020. Eh?
Yeah, I can look it up quickly.
I think it's right around that. I have May 2020. So if you could just put like a
Okay.
vertical line, like maybe a dotted vertical line over that May 2020. A little bit
April.
further.
I
Yeah,
think
there. Yeah.
what made me choose that point earlier was the pi cycles. So I think previously, yeah, kind of lining up those tops and bottoms with that pi cycle idea as well. I think here to here would line up with the pi cycles as
So
using
that
that
would
instead of
say
just the
that we're
market top and
expecting the
bottom.
next halvening event in mid 2024, right?
That would be
I think that's somewhere in that area. That's 23. So yeah, there.
23.
Yeah, right
So
there. Basically right there. So notice how the previous. It'd be interesting to measure the distance between the last happening event and your 300%. Like take maybe like a date window or something and measure that distance. Yeah, that right there. And then we know that the next happening event is like April, May of 24. And so copy that if you could, that date bar thing. Yeah. And just overlay it on the next one. So this, now you could probably adjust your levels now so that that 300 lines up with that
right. So
event.
if we
Whoop,
get
here,
well, that's
and there you go. So that's
I like that.
interesting. Now the question I would have is if you took the high and you adjusted it to the actual high, then how much
To this high
further
here,
off in now how much further off in
right?
space do we
Yeah, I mean
make
that could
that
be
low for it to line
a
up?
December low, or a
Yeah. Oh, I
there
like
we go. Or
that.
we get our November dump.
Right. One more. One more. Oh, no, not back. Okay, that's
So
it,
we're around there.
eh? So it's okay. So what is that low then? Yeah, what's that date of the dotted line there? Yeah, what's that? November. Oh, look at that.
November, yeah,
November 14th. Somebody mark that date down. That to me looks like an important event window. But anyway, that in fact, take a screenshot of that if you could. Put a dotted line up and down on that November date, and let's come back and look at this over time. Leave all that alone,
okay,
but just
all right,
put like a dotted line over that that there, and make it dotted or something so we can tell it's different. And call it like the Beamish line or something. You know, this is what that crazy Beamish guy thinks. Because that looks interesting, the way that the happening event and the distance between the happening event and the test of the old highs. I kind of like that thinking. And then, of course, all that rant that I did earlier about one more dump into November, December, right? That would almost line up perfectly with the history of Bitcoin. Like, notice your last study. You could have drawn it off of the lows there from the summer. Not that study, the next one.
this one here.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, you were there. The last dotted line, right?
The last dotted line. This, as in the horizontal or the
Yeah,
vertical?
that line right there, the
This line
diagonal
here, yeah.
dotted line, the diagonal dotted line.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This one here.
that right there. You
Yep.
could have stopped that study at the lows from the summer, but no, there was one more dump
hmm
that caused you to actually draw the low off of that low where it is. And that's what I'm worried
hmm
about. I still think there needs to be one more little low here put in.
Right.
But I
Right.
like that. That's cool. So if you could take a screenshot of that and throw it in the app, I really like that thinking. That's a cool study. And also too that picture that you had of the 100%.
This
Yeah,
guy
that too
over
as well.
here.
If you could juxtapose those two somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably take a screenshot of this and paste it over here.
Yeah, that's cool
And
stuff.
yeah,
I mean, the
okay,
interesting thing
cool.
about Bitcoin is it is very algorithmic.
Right.
So it
Hmm.
really should act like this.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. It just fits really well into that price and time moving, you know.
Having said
Yeah.
that, you think that the previous high is the pivot that we should be using, right?
Only based off of the that like pi cycle top idea. Um, yeah, but I'm sure there would probably be a way to
That's fascinating. Why
if you
would
did
the
draw
that
that off
pi
there,
cycle top be top there and not the
it's
next
almost
one?
like if
Because
you were to
the pi
do
cycle thing, that's just moving averages, right?
what's interesting is that it kind of if you took if you took this idea and this idea, it's like almost the confluence of two mini cycles kind of working towards that same point in
Yeah, they
time.
both have basically the same window there, right? So
Yeah,
what that means is if you take your little arrow tool, on that date we should be breaking to testing at least the old highs, right?
right. And do you know what's really interesting about that now that we mentioned it, the I've done some GAN arc studies off of this this initial impulse,
Yeah.
well, called the vibrational signature of the
Oh,
market here,
fancy
and
schmancy
then
talk now.
the vibrational signature of the market here.
Yeah.
And we're coming up to, I mean, there's a point where they both the final arc kind of they meet. Um, they kind of come to a head at the same time,
Yeah, let's
which
see if
I
I
found
can
really interesting.
let's see what the hell you're seeing here. So, something like that. I mean, this is a pretty crazy image. But fire this on your screen if you could. Where are you? You are right here. I'll just put this in our little chat room here on Rocket Chat. Is that what you're talking about? That stuff?
Let me jump over to Rocket Chat. Where are you? Yes. Yeah.
It's messier
Yep.
than messy. Probably most people in the public are just going to see that and go, what the hell's that crap? If you want to throw it up on the screen just to show people what
Yep.
we're talking about,
I'll
this is the kind of stuff that we do in the level 2 program that it'll just fry your brain when you get into it.
see if I can.
I don't know. I'm almost afraid to show guys like Paul this kind of stuff because Paul, he's already got all the information he needs to trade. He doesn't need any more rabbit holes.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
scare me. I will never do level 2.
I don't know whether.
I'm trying to see if I can get this over.
We're gonna really test Ben's hangout abilities.
Let's see if I can change. Can I change the tab? I think I'm
You're
gonna
in
have to
the.
cancel.
You could always go into like share screen. You go stop screen sharing and then re-screen share again, and then pick whatever tab it is that has that image.
Okay, genius. There we go. Let's go. Let's
Brian's
make
such
it
a
a window.
troublemaker. I set these guys up for failure. Sorry, guys. There we go. Let's see what he's got.
All
There
right.
you go.
Can we
Look
see
at that
this?
cool image, eh?
Yeah.
So this is WD GAN and is price and time squared using the market's vibrational signatures to draw these studies. So I often call those arcs speed bumps, and the easy way to think about that is if you're going over one of those lines in the dark and you're driving your 10-speed bicycle and there's no lights, what usually happens is you go flying over the front of the bicycle and land on your chin and end up in the emergency room having to get a bazillion stitches to put your face back together. So that's what happened to me. It's interesting how we have a couple speed bumps. We just went through a speed bump on the first study, and now we're going through the second speed bump on the second study. So you think that these arcs are somehow related to your first study that you were thinking?
Um, yeah, I mean, I might have mine drawn up slightly different. I'd have to go back from memory. I just thought there was a point in time from the way I drawn mine. Maybe I drew mine my initial move a little higher.
Could be. I just
Um,
quickly threw that together for you.
yeah, so I think I took mine back, but that's exactly what I mean. And then they kind of almost start to come into sync as they go further out in time.
Hmm.
And it's kind of around that point that we're talking about. They really sync up on the final arc,
All right,
which was
so here is a little tighter image. Maybe you can just quickly throw that on your screen. And you do see that there are quite a few arcs all sort of coming to a head here, all at the same point. I really
yeah.
like that I think I told you guys earlier that, like, I guess, what is that? 12,473 there on stamp. And yeah, there's like two or three different arcs that all seem to coincide right down in that area as well. It's like there's two of them. Yeah, down in that area down there. So
Hmm.
what's scary here is you can see that, like, if you can just sort of, I don't know whether you can zoom in on that little image. Yeah, you can kind of see how there's an air pocket here between where the price is right now and where the Gann angles and those arcs are down below. Which is a little scary when you have that open air like that, because the price can drop really quickly into those support lines. Anyway, we will see what happens. Anyway, kind of a bit of a tangent there. Sorry, everyone. That kind of spaghetti into
Hey,
the
you wanted to
brain.
go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, no, I love rabbit holes. It's totally awesome. And actually, that reminds me, and I think his name is Andrew, but I'm not positive. But he did another one of these time fib studies on the Havening events. And
Hmm.
I can't remember exactly how the logic of this goes. But he has a
Was it a
pretty
4 year
big.
cycle?
Sorry?
Was it a 4 year cycle kind of
Yeah, it was like from
deal?
the Havening event where he starts his time study.
Hmm.
And he just draws it from the Havening event to the Havening event. And what's fascinating about that is, like, 0.618 is almost absolutely perfect sort of bottom point. And the 0.382 is almost the absolute perfect topping point. So you've got the Havening events on there. So go grab your the fib time study if you could for me, and let's throw this on there. It's really interesting. I think you can do different templates, so I'm gonna get you to do this up. Um,
Yep.
so throw it on. Go from Havening event. Well, you don't need to go all the way back there. Go from like the
There.
May 20 Havening event to the next one. Yeah. Yeah. So we know that the next one, there it is. Okay. And then go in the study and put in 38.2, and then 61.8 and 78.6. And if you want to save it as a new study template or something, totally fine.
8.2.
I think it has to be
No, so yeah.
0.382. Yeah, there you go. And 61.8 and 78.6. And I seem to recall that he said that usually the market tops on 38.2s, it bottoms on 61.8s, and it starts to actually rally on 78.6s. So look how
It is.
38.2 basically nailed the top there. It's
I'll make
freaky.
these all a different color here.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it
38.2
did.
totally nailed the top.
Mm-hmm.
61.8, and then notice there's the
Oh,
beamish
there we
line.
go. We're on
So
the beamish line.
61.8 is coming up awfully close here. And then 78.6 should sort of mark the end of the consolidation and we start actually moving higher in earnest. So 78.6 probably into your halvening event is probably the base, and we start climbing the wall of worry. You can do this on the previous one. The previous cycle halvening event was July 2016. So if you want to just grab the tool and just drag it so that the 0 point is on July of 2016. Yeah, I think that was a halvening event.
Mm-hmm.
38.2 lines up the top, 61.8 is the bottom, 78.6 is the end of the dead cat bounce, setting up the halvening event window. So it'd
That's
be really
cool.
cool for
Yeah.
you to juxtapose both of these studies together and see if they point out some levels for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. I
Yeah,
like
so
that.
maybe save that one as sort of like, I think his name is Andrew. I'm not positive, but I think it was Andrew's time study. Maybe save it something like that. But
Yeah.
if anything, I need to bring him on the daily brief and update us on that. But I thought that was a really cool study. So now
Yeah.
we have two time fib studies to work with here. I really like your study. That's super cool.
And I love how they like that confluence there between that around that beamish line when you take the actual market high as opposed to this one and you bring it down to it's around to that kind of area and then it kind of
That
gets
almost
close to
lines
that
up
that 78.
perfectly with that breakout. Yeah. So, I mean,
Mm.
how ironic. We're basically predicting the future here. It's so
Yeah.
funny. And, that's a great part about Bitcoin is it's so algorithmic. And so somebody actually asked, what would be his opinion with regard to the Fed tightening. I would say that really I think I showed you on my chart the Bitcoin cycle that's going on here and the 22, 23 Benner cycle. It's almost like all this stuff is predetermined. Why is the Benner cycle a trough in 22, 23? They must have, that must be a very regular time for Fed interest rate increases. And then Great Del Moody, I don't know whether you're aware, but on the regular site chat, I talk a lot about the Fed spread and short-term interest rates and their cycles. And this current interest rate cycle is supposed to hit an apex in August of 2023. So by the time we get to August 2023, I think the Fed will be done raising interest rates, and ironically enough, it'll be the market that actually dictates this, not the Fed. So that aligns perfectly. Like if you go back to like 2015, because I think that this cycle is going to look a lot like the 2015 cycle, where if 2023 is like 2015, Bitcoin just basically finds its bottom through the end of that Fed interest rate cycle. So coming out of 23 into 24, ironically enough, the Fed's actually going to be a lot friendlier. And that might set the stage. You might hear talk from the Fed. We'd really like to stimulate the economy. We'd like to see growth again. And all of a sudden, the whole damn Bitcoin pump cycle starts all over again. All the shitcoin guys like Danny all start getting projects going. That Do Kwon guy is finally let out of the closet and he starts having new projects coming online and the whole damn thing starts all over again. So I actually think that it all aligns almost perfectly. I mean, it's ridiculous how well it all aligns. And then the question I have here is why was Bitcoin created? And I believe it was created because the powers that be knew that the U.S. currency was going to have to be massively diluted to get the U.S. and the hegemony system out of this baby boomer demographic nightmare. Basically, the banks were going to have to go and buy all those bad bonds that they issued back. And I think that's actually a hallmark of all of these fear greed cycles. Every single cycle, it's exactly the same. So with that, the question ultimately here is, has the hegemony system changed? And I would argue, and of course most people hate this, no, nothing has changed. In fact, I made reference to Shane earlier. He actually is a sort of a big astrology fan. He's the theme of this astrological cycle, ironically enough, is consolidation of power. And I have to say, if it's one thing the 1% have done here very effectively over the past 5 years, 10 years here, is they are consolidating their power base like there is no tomorrow. And I think that they've pulled it off. Which means that it's the same bullshit, right? Somebody pull up the debt clock. You got a new unused tab up there at the top of your screen there, Ben. Just type in U.S. debt clock, and you see that this damn debt clock hasn't stopped an inch. And of course, it's not supposed to. If the banksters have their way, that debt clock accelerates over time, so that they can just continue this fugazi lending scam of a business model that they run. There it is. And there's no stopping this thing. And it's not, if the powers that be of the world who wanted to break the old hegemony system, the Fed system, the way the U.S. is dominating world politics, they would have broken this. They would have bankrupted the U.S. We would have had to start off with a whole new currency system. But this thing doesn't look like it's been broken at all. It looks like it's just business as usual. Nothing is changing here. So to answer your question, I think Bitcoin just takes the Fed in stride. The old adage, of course, is don't fight the Fed. So if our interest rate cycles, and just to show you that image, Ben, if you want to throw this chart I'll put in the room up on your screen so people can understand what it is I'm saying there. This is the short-term interest rate cycle, and you can see the sine wave. I'm a huge fan of sine waves. Ben, can you get that image? Is that possible?
Yep, I'm okay, being. Here we go.
So there's the cycle, and you can see where the bottom trough of that cycle is. That's basically the middle of next summer. So that cycle probably turns. Yeah, that's a very good point, Frogsy. In fact, it wasn't. It was. What was his name? Astor, right? Astor was the big anti-Fed guy, and mysteriously, all of his crew all happened to be on that Titanic together, and blub blub blub, down they go. No opposition to the Fed. They take over the whole system. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Frogsy. Absolutely right. So anyway, the point of this image is just to show you that interest rates move on an extremely predictable cycle. And we just unfortunately went through a troughing cycle. Now, of course, we're going through an interest rate cranking up cycle. And really what we have to watch is we have to watch the orange line. The purple line that you see, that's the Fed funds. And ironically enough, that really all they do is they just sort of follow along whatever the market wants. So the orange line is the key here, and I don't think this orange line stops, going down, which means short-term interest rates going up. I don't think it stops until, but like the chart says there, August of next year. So, hey, there you go. There's a conspiracy thought for you. Anyway, okay, so cool conversation. Hope you guys are getting some value out of that. That's not really Bitcoin. That's more monetary policy. And ironically enough, I think the two are highly correlated. And, because of that dead clock and the way that it's operating, the Bitcoin story doesn't change. It literally does not change an inch. And, I mean, you see what these silly politicians are doing now. I mean, this Biden guy, and, the same thing with my substitute drama teacher in my country. I mean, they're spending money like drunken whores. And the funny thing is you look at the tax revenues, they don't have the authority to spend this money. Where are they getting the authority to just print this money out of thin air? Well, the only reason why it's being done is because this is exactly what the banksters want. And they're more than happy. And I'll tell you, the moment that they don't want to lend any more money, you see what's happening in Great Britain. Like, literally, full stop. And you silly democratically elected politicians, you think you run this show? Sit down there, you stupid little bitch, and we'll show you who's actually running this show. I mean, what you just saw happen in Great Britain there was an excellent demonstration of the 1%, where as long as you're playing the game, hey, they'll finance you. As soon as you start going against the grain, and that, I actually think that's half the reason why Boris was like, well, fuck it, you don't want to reelect me, I don't care, so what? Because he realized that the politicians, their hands are completely tied. They are nothing more than puppets of these banksters, right? So the banking system hasn't changed. So as a result, I don't see any reason why this Bitcoin model should change at all. Not one iota. Anyway. Agree to disagree. Go back and study ancient Near East history and you will see. All right, not quite sure what that's in reference to. You look at the British monarchy and why did the British like the color purple? Interesting. But we won't open up that can of worms today. All right, what we do want to do, and gee whiz, isn't it incredible how quickly a couple hours go by here? Man, time flies. Paul, after all what we said here, is there anything you'd like to add to this conversation? Is there anything that's jumped out at you that you go, hey, this brings this to mind?
No, I'm just a stupid trader. I just play setups, Brian.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, day in, day out, I'm making money. Enough for me.
Well, that's all that matters at the end of the day, right?
Yep.
Okay. Why don't we then pop into just looking at a couple names? Frogsy says he was talking to Great Del Moody. Okay, well, you guys are chit-chatting back and forth there. Let's take a look at a few names. And Paul, do you want to do the charts for this part of the presentation? Or would you like me to take over? Who wants to volunteer here?
If it's volunteering, yeah, I'll do it.
Yay! Thanks, man.
Yay!
I mean, I can pull up the charts. It doesn't matter. But Paul, he's great at this. So why don't we let him do it?
Yeah, why not?
All right. So, Paul, we do need you to screen share. So
already?
First on the hit list, right up at the top of the broadcast, somebody asked us to look at... Where the hell was it? TRI's breakfast cereal. That'd be cool. And you're going to have Brian Beamish with the Kung Fu grip. Now, that would be cool to see. I've always wanted to get bobbleheads in the merch store. That would be so cool. All right. Fred asked us to look at CRVUSD. CRVUSD. What do you think of this bad boy here, Paul? Yeah, and we'll just stick with the tether names.
Let's just clean this up.
Yeah.
And let's just zoom out a little bit.
Oh, that looks pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's cheap and back in the support area.
Jesus. So we made 10x on a move back up top, eh?
Yeah. Exactly at the puck.
Mm.
Looks okay on the location for a little old lady. Yeah.
You could definitely be nibbling, so
Yeah.
that's definitely doable, Fred. Probably a good idea. Like, what makes these guys so special? Do you have Ben or Paul? Do either of you know this name? CRV?
I don't know exactly what's about them. I know the project, but I know the name.
Yeah.
I'm accumulating this one, but I didn't take a deeper look on fundamentals.
Ben,
Or
any idea who these guys are?
I like the fact it's just
Um,
retesting the W made in June.
Mm-hmm. I always like to encourage people to be rational investors. So I guess the question for you here, Fred, is what makes this guy so much better than, say, buying Bitcoin or buying your favorite? Says this is Curve DAO. 85 cents. Is that where we are right now? Yeah, 85 cents.
Yeah.
They've got, it says here's the market cap is $466 million. Oh,
Yeah.
these things, this,
They
I
have a
mean,
lot
it's
of
a
coins
half
in
a
the market.
billion dollar idea here. What the hell do they do for a half $1 billion to justify that?
John Vanker in the chat's pretty much hitting it on the head. It's a DeFi play, and they're yeah a liquidity provider, so you can go on there and um, like stake um, your money and get an interest return.
Uh,
Yeah, provide liquidity, and then um, yeah, I'm pretty sure they even have like farm out liquidity to other platforms as well that might use it. But all yeah, all about DeFi, and they're one of the biggest players for sure.
okay, it's weird. It says uh, Curve. It's weird how. Oh, okay, there we go. CRV is a governance token for Curve Finance. It implemented a complex time-based staking system to exchange CRV into VECRV, where the VECRV is an internal token intended for governance purposes and has a right to claim the cash flows generated by the protocol.
I'm
One
not a
CR. Sorry?
I'm not a big fan of governance tokens.
No. Okay.
No.
Um, Curve Finance conducted one of the biggest retroactive token airdrops on 14th August 2020 to reward early users, with a vesting period up to 4 years. It intends to have yield farming for all of its pool, with the reward voted by the VECRV holders. Yield farming refers to the activity of depositing and locking capital in a DeFi protocol for the reward of the protocol's native tokens. DeFi protocols need to bootstrap capital to provide liquidity for exchanges, lend to borrowers, underwrite insurance risk, etc. It acts as an incentive to attract users to use the protocol while generating hype, giving out part of its native tokens. All right. Yield farmers will have to constantly monitor their VECRV power to get the maximum payout from the yield farming exercise as VECRV decays with time. There is a calculator built that shows this in detail. For further information, go check out the official documentation. Okay. I suppose you could actually create like a whole class of these types of tokens and coins. Eh? Would you call this a token or a coin? Anyone? Does it make a difference?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe a token and that it's got more utility and that it's more of a governance kind of thing than something you spend.
All right.
But
So you'd have to. Great Delmidi says token.
Yeah.
Reggie Middleton has a patent on DeFi. I expect he will be in touch with Curve if he hasn't already been. Oh, interesting. If it doesn't have its own blockchain, it's a token. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Great Delmudi. So on balance, I guess our takeaway from this is it looks relatively cheap, but this network is still valued at about $500 million. So I mean, how do you actually even figure out what one of these tokens is actually worth? I've never been able to figure that out. Fully diluted, I guess it says circulating supply is 545 million tokens. Wow, that's a hell of a lot. It says total 1.8 billion. There's a vesting. I don't know what that means. I guess a certain 24.5 million tokens go to employees. That's interesting. Vote locked CRV 599 million tokens. The founder says has 455 million. Wow, that's a lot. All right, so I mean, you're gonna have to do your own due diligence. Technically speaking, looks like it's the bottom end of the range. Somebody says expect $1 trillion is the future. Oh, wonderful. They get on the chat here. They keep making reference to Reggie. Reggie is a scammer that ran a 2017 ICO, which he got sued by SEC. The token was Veritasium and is trash. So there you go. DPZ Crypto says met Reggie in 2018 and ran away far away. Okay. I tried identifying who Reggie scammed. Nobody has come forward. IMO, the SEC is blowing smoke. All right, so if anything, what I'm hearing is, wow, this sure is a contentious space, eh? So all in all, it's another one of these tokens, and it looks like it's trading at the bottom end of its range. I don't know if we pull up a weekly chart. Do we have any kind of weekly W's or anything kind of indicating that we have a bottom yet?
No.
All right. So it's in the process of trying to bottom. I would say that, if you draw just a simple trend line off of those peaks, the peak from January 2022, I don't think I'd go off of that high. No, I'd go, that high there. If you draw a trend line off of that line, I would say, well, if this thing can W out on the other side of that trend line, you got yourself a buy signal. So it's interesting how we've broken it, and now we have a new little downtrend line that Paul has on here. I think quite simply put, if we can get back above those levels, you'll see that weekly W come in. It's still a $64,000 question whether that actually comes in or not. One hint that maybe that bottom will come in is if you start seeing things like bullish divergences in momentum indicators. You can see it's trying. It's definitely trying.
But only on MACD. I don't see anything on RSI or OBV.
All right. So one vote, but not a chorus.
Not yet.
Right.
Personally, I will expect on this one, this area, to see a W, even below 78.6.
Yeah, could be.
Someone pumped the market in this area, so
yeah,
we'll probably do it again.
Your little blue box, that candle body low there from that end of June, beginning of July low. That
This
candle
one,
body. No, the next one.
this one.
Yeah, right there. That candle body low. That would be a sick ass trade allocation, in my opinion. Yeah, right down in there. And
Yeah,
that's probably, I wonder what 88.6 of your chart. Now, this would be an interesting one to do Ben's sort of study of how deep has this thing corrected, and should we even think about this thing being able to get back up and make new highs?
pretty close to candle body low
Yeah,
location 88.6. You see the this level, it's a good level 88.6.
yeah. Right, it's almost like that's the inside bar reversal level there.
Yeah. At this
Yeah,
point, I don't have a clear W. We are in reload zone, but some bullish divergence on MACD, but that's it. You still have to wait for a clear setup on daily chart.
yeah. Maybe you think you could grab that image and we'll throw it in the in Ben's app or in the spreadsheet? What do you think?
Yeah, why not?
All right, cool. And John says Curve is in the stable coin game. I hope it at 85.5 cents. I hope it's not losing its dollar peg. Mind you, that wouldn't make sense, right? Because the thing's been as high as $1.60 there back last summer. So, do they have a stable coin that they work off of? I don't know. Anyway, that's kind of an interesting conversation. If anything, that's half the purpose of these shows, is to
Yep.
do this kind of digging. So I think that was a good time spent. Say, do we have any other requests? I think I saw one or two other requests.
Yeah.
Let's see.
ING, I guess. I saw something.
Okay. ING, is that what you said? IMG? I can't
Yeah.
see where that is. Oh, we got all these. If you go to 18sexy.net, you'll find the love of your life. I have to get through all
No,
this.
I'm a married man now. No, thank you.
All right. Okay, well then you got to go to tinder.hot.cooldude.
No. No.
Hey, Great
Let's
Joe
stick
Moody's
to the
wondering
chart.
if he's got four. Oh, there you go. So Talal has asked us to look at INJ and LIT and MNW. Holy moly, that's a list. Well, let's go with INJ. Oh, that looks interesting.
Yeah. I already have that on my chart.
Wow.
Bottom of the range. I have a range in this area on daily chart.
Sweet.
Some W's, some bullish divergence.
Alright.
Nice W's in OBV. Really is the middle of the range. If I put a weekly chart, I don't think we have already a bullish, but take a look at OBV. I like that.
Yeah, wow, that OBV. Yeah, wow, that looked interesting.
And you have a weekly W.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so if you put line chart, you can see weekly W's. I have a nice range. Let's see what happens.
Not bad.
This is the reload zone. And I have this range. Yeah, you have a weekly W, so it's stronger than the other one.
Yep. This
On
is
daily chart.
is this thing $1.90 or so? Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is injective.
Yeah.
It says $151 million market cap. Jesus, a hell of a lot of big numbers here.
Inflation.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. What are they calling this thing? This is another one of these. Injective enables access to unlimited decentralized finance markets. Users can create any financial market on Injective's fast, cross-chain, zero gas fee, secure, and fully decentralized exchange protocol.
Yeah.
That
The best
all-
thing since the hot water. But
Yeah, and the problem with these is that isn't this what the SEC is trying to crack down on? Like, is this the same thing that Luna tried to do? Remember they had what was that platform? They had a platform where they were trying to basically replicate the stock market or something, weren't they?
Yeah, it's DIDX or DXDUI, something like that. 1 second.
Was
All
that
right.
Mirror Protocol?
Um,
This one is that I guess.
DYDX. Oh,
Yeah.
that's interesting. All right.
From what I remember, I hope I remember correctly. Dalmudi will correct me immediately if I'm wrong.
Yeah, where's that great Del Moody guy?
He's on the
Yeah,
YouTube page.
he
Oh,
said
there he is. Yeah,
MIR.
MIR. Yeah, that was that mirror thing that those guys were trying to do. Yeah. That's interesting. DYDX. Who's this? What? Why did you bring that? What brings this to mind?
Yeah, that's. I guess they were, if I remember correctly, they work on the same idea to put the stock market in.
Oh,
If
I
I'm
don't
not
know
wrong,
if that's what these guys want to do. This injective, but I guess as always. And Tala, is that your name? Talal. Why,
Talal.
why, why, why are you bringing this one to our attention? What is it about this that?
Has a weekly W.
Well, okay. I mean, aside from the fact that technically it looks great, I just want to know what the fundamental reason is. What is it about this that makes it so much better than any of the others, right? Because there's a ton of these. So my question is like, why this one? What is it? Is there some sort of big promotion coming up? Are they building a better mousetrap? Those kind of things. Technically, all right. So that's the only reason that jumps out of you. I mean, it's an interesting looking chart. Don't get me wrong, and I do like the idea. You see where Paul is basically buying down in his reload zone. To me, that looks like a generally half decent idea, and if you can get filled down there at anywhere between like $1.25 and $1.50, then up into like $2.50, $3, you should be able to get some free coins here. So once that happens, can't really comment too much. Talal says first perpetual with low sup cap. Okay. Not quite sure I understand what that means, but thank you, Talal. Appreciate it. I mean, technically speaking, not a bad looking price chart. You can see the levels. I mean, I might draw the top of the range off of that high. I'd be curious why you drew it off of the level that you did, but it's everybody does things slightly different, I suppose. But on balance, somewhere down in that $1.50 area, it looks like that's probably value. So if you can pick some of this up around that $1.50 area, it's not a bad idea. Maybe you could grab that chart and we can throw it in the spreadsheet. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I could put it, but
Paul posted the chart. I guess that was from the previous one we looked at.
yeah,
Ben, does that work for you? That CRV chart?
I posted the link, so should be good. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the link's good.
All right, cool. Okay. Why don't we do one more?
Yeah, I guess
And then,
Talal said another one.
pardon me?
We had another one. ING, another.
Yeah. LIT or MNW? Take your pick.
Yeah, and W. This one?
This is from Talal again, who says that he had the INJ, then LIT, and then MNW. So that's Michael Nancy Walter. Michael Nancy Walter. Yeah, that looks like it. Morpheus. Hey, you're right down my alley. Oh, boo. Can't touch that one now.
No, no, no,
You
no,
got
no,
to
no.
tell us about these stories about a month ago.
Yeah.
Actually, this would be a good example of why we use the reload zone. So 78.6, you can see how that sets up off the original W there. So if I was working a stink bid, that's where I'd probably throw my stink bids.
Even 88.6 could be a good level on this one.
Could be. Probably if you draw a trend line. Well, actually, this would be a tough one, eh? It'd
Yeah,
be
this
interesting to do this because I would assume that you're already long this one because you can't buy it now. But you could do like a Foggenbaum off of that W, and I got a funny
this
feeling
one.
probably where we are right now is probably 2.618.
This one or this one, the lower one.
I'd go off of the first high that you pointed out there.
This one.
Yeah, that there. Back, yeah, against that low there, yeah.
Yeah, close enough to 4669.
Oh, I see. So those are the actual dollar figures.
Yeah, I did the 1 second.
Oh, that one looks better. Actually, I think that study's better.
Yeah.
Actually, this is why this is a really good example of why you want to draw a few of these, and you really want to ask, what is the market respecting? We don't want to tell the market, oh, this is what you have to do. What we want to do is draw these studies and then just ask, which one is the market respecting? And I get the impression that that second study that you drew is the one the market is actually respecting.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, so 2.618 sort of is against that high. It's close.
Now 877.
Was, and then that 877 level. Yeah, that looks pretty solid. So you could probably also, what this looks like is this looks like a massive head and shoulders pattern. So we're coming up into the neckline, and the pullback following this. Notice the low from like February, March of last year. That's probably the objective that I would use on a pullback, those lows, down in those lows down there. Nope, a little bit further along. Nope, other direction. The low is in that March area.
March 21.
No, you're 20. Yeah, right down those lows down in there. Nope, now going the other direction.
This one.
Hey, there you go. You got it. So that would be, in my opinion, that would be your left shoulder. So if you draw a horizontal line off of that low, notice how that horizontal line, that left shoulder, is going to line up really nicely with our current reload zone. So yeah, you do it right off of that low. There you go. So notice, yeah, and also too, notice how that basically is just bringing the market. In fact, this is a really cool concept that Grimm likes to use when he's trading. Is if you zoom in on this most recent low that was put in right off of that blue line, notice there's a cheeky little tail on that candle there. So
this one?
That is actually what we call the institutional fingerprint. That big red ugly candle there, that's the bottom of the market. But that little tail there is your window. And I would place your stink bid right at that candle body low. Let the market stab into that tail. It probably won't fill too much down into there. But if you have your order at that level where Paul has his mouse right now, that's probably the kick-ass trade level. Yeah, right down in there. Then if you want to get really fancy, as price is coming down into that level, zoom in on your lower time frame charts, start to see if there's bull divs that start to form as price is coming into that level. And then, of course, can we get W's and stuff? Yeah. So you can see if we're now on the 4 hour, probably this sets up off of like a 30-minute chart or something like that, So
I see bearish divergence on 4-hour chart, and
I wouldn't be buying
all
it
the
now. That's
indicators.
for damn sure.
Yeah.
You're not
So
allowed to buy
really,
it now. Do not buy it now.
really overbought. MACD divergence confirmed, RSI divergence, even OBV divergence. No, 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 no.
I think our blue lines in the reload zone there, I think would be an awesome place to think about buying.
Yeah, will take some time. You have to have a lot of patience, but
Yeah, yeah. You know, the question we have to ask ourselves on something like this is there some sort of fundamental driver here? You know, I noticed, you know, keep in mind KuCoin, these guys, they are just, you know, they Koreans, they are intense capitalists. And they have no problem shilling and pumping and dumping, and you know, they'll rip your heart out and they'll show you it pumping in your face before you collapse. They can be pretty nasty. In fact, oh, super cool. Zoom in right on that little low level that we talked about there. Yeah, zoom right in there and you'll notice something about that candle there. Yeah, can you see? Like, I would expand the price range. Is that a price gap from
yep.
yeah, it is. Do you see the price gap there? Right there. See the price gap? You know, we have a rule at TRI, and somebody, well, anyway, and let's do a survey. How many of you 15 people who are watching this right now, what's the statistical probability that that price gap gets filled in? It's actually pretty darn high. And if you don't know this, grab your journals and write this down. But fascinating how we zoom in. You know, look at those tails. Those are the tails that we were talking about on the higher time frame chart. We zoom in on the lower time frame chart, and oh, gee whiz, there's a big fat gap sitting right there. Isn't that cool? I mean, you guys want to learn how to be sick-ass motherfucking traders. That's the shit that you got to learn. Somebody grab that quote. And of course, do it with a smile. And actually, this would be an interesting one if you could put this price chart in our database, and let's come back and we'll keep an eye on this over the next few months and see if that level is traded to, because I think that would be a really cool level to note. All right, we're now about 20 past the hour, so I think we've probably given these people a good fill here today. What do you think, gentlemen? Have you had fun this evening?
Yep, definitely.
Always.
Cool. How about you YouTubers over there? And I got to say, you know, the crew that we have here in the chat lounge, these are some really smart crypto people. You know, this is you know, anybody who's watching this video later on in the week, you know, not only are my co-hosts here really good and really cool people, but I gotta say, even just the participants, aside from our idiot Schiller bot porno guys, this is a really good group, you know, and very, very
Yep.
smart people. So I gotta say, man, this is a pretty damn good show that we put on here. So.
And bear markets really interested people and hardcore people will stay on watching these shows.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Okay, so can we throw this one into the database there, Ben and Paul? What do you think?
What time frame? 1 hour, 1 day?
I don't know. I guess maybe the daily, so we keep it all sort of uniform.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a really good technical lesson about the chaos levels. So maybe, I don't know. In fact, you know what? If you could grab this chart, I'm going to talk in the daily brief about a really good technical lesson you can learn from this chart using chaos theory that I think actually would be very valuable for everybody. So remind Paul, you're usually on for the daily brief, so remind me to talk in the daily brief tomorrow. Oh, I guess it'll be on Friday that I do this. So
yeah.
All right, cool. All right, why don't we wind it up there? It's prediction time.
Yeah.
So who the hell's gonna put their neck in the news first? You know, Ben was actually the rightest out of all of us. So Ben, You get first dibs. Where the hell are we going here? Maybe if you could throw a Bitcoin chart up on your screen there, Paul. Ben will give us an idea of where the hell he thinks this damn market's going.
I'm going -2.
Whoa, really? Well, that's not good. Oh, actually, yeah, I see a fractal fail on the daily charts here. Ouch, well, that's not good. What happened to that damn buy signal I thought I saw the other day?
I was in this area.
Yeah, -2, eh? Seriously, Ben? I mean, I'm not questioning you. If that's what it is, that's what it is. Or were you just playing with us?
No, I'll put it out there. We'll see what happens.
All right, -2. Ouch. Jeez, get ready, folks. Where is that? -2. Bang. All right, Paul. What do you think? Do we even need to ask?
I'm not bearish yet.
No?
Not yet. Still
Are
in
you
the
gonna
same
go
range.
Full on +2?
+2, +1. I know. 1.5.
1.5. All right, so he's
Yeah.
gonna temper his bullish enthusiasm a little bit here.
Yeah, just a little.
All right, and the Beamish. Oh God, what the hell is the Beamish gonna say here? I'm actually surprised at myself for not. Where are we here? Oh boy. So we got the options expiry coming up on Friday. And then, but what are we going to do by next Wednesday? Oh boy, that's a tough one. I am going to say, let's see, I'll throw on my sine wave. Where's the sine wave? There it is. Well, let's go top here, bottom there. Top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom. Yeah, I'll go +1. I think we're probably going to dump into the weekend, but by the time we get into next week, we'll be on them. Oh, no, okay, I'll go 0. I'm going to say we'll be basically the same level. Not that it really makes any difference, but we'll go with a big 0.
And this way, one of us will be right.
Yeah, that's a pretty wide spread. So we've got Ben full on Uber Bear, Paul Uber Bull, and Beamish Uber sit there and pick your nose. All right. Yeah, I think that's a better call. All right. Well, gentlemen, great show as always. So entertaining and enjoyable to hang out with you guys. Closing thoughts? I mean, since Paul likes to talk so much, maybe we'll let him go first, and in a little while when he's done, Ben and I can add our comments. What do you think, Paul? Any closing thoughts for these good people?
Same on every damn time. Little old lady, just pick your levels, work your limit orders. Day traders, play your setups, risk management, setups, plan, day in and day out. Nothing new in this market. Until we'll see a break below the 18K, I'm not bearish yet.
Okay. So the line in the sand has been drawn. Ben, what do you think? Any closing thoughts for these good people?
No, thanks for joining. As Brian said, good quality content coming out the chat. So yeah, always appreciate everyone's input. Check out the app. Send some love to Brian and the boy tomorrow, and we'll see you all back here next week.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the good karmic wishes. Well said. There's really not a hell of a lot I can add to that. So PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. Check out, I don't know whether that shows on the video or not. Oh, it does. Check out Ben's app. we talked about tonight, we had a few new ideas that we've added. And of course, we have all of our higher time frame studies and charts that we've been talking about as well. So go check that out. And of course, as always, if you did enjoy the broadcast and you feel like throwing us a bone, half of the reason why I put this together was I wanted to get a channel up and running in Decentraland where these videos are just running 24/7. There we are. Videos are just running. Description as below. If you enjoyed it and you feel like helping us out, there is a donation wallet address there for you. Any contributions, of course, would be greatly appreciated. TRI itself, school is in session right now. The internal engines are working really, really well. Fascinating, I think this is a really cool anecdote of the market. As a commodities broker, I used to do this on a regular basis, a weekly commodity trend survey. And this page that I've created here now, this is the entire investing universe that I would basically be following on a daily basis. And then, of course, if there were specific sectors and stuff that I'm interested, we could drill down even furthermore. But what this simply asks is, what are the long-term trends? Is an asset at the bottom end of its range? Is it at the top end of its range? And is it breaking down? And quite literally, we get buy and sell signals on a regular basis based on moving average crossovers and where the price of the asset is given its current location. One thing that really jumps out at me of late is that 5 ratings are, this thing is in an excellent trade location and it's just waiting for that moving average cross. So if we look at something like Bitcoin here, the crypto top 30, perfect example. We're at the bottom end of the range. Indicators are trying to point up. Now all we need is we got to get these moving averages to cross back bullish again. This might take a while to happen, folks, right? So don't be in a huge hurry. These are weekly price charts, and they take usually a long time to turn. So you can see last time we turned back bullish was way over here, and that painted that whole bull run. So we crossed back bearish, and I do the weekly commodity trend survey videos on the Rumble platform, and I post those videos on the site as well. And basically, I just go through the market looking for signals. So what I really want to see are 6s. I don't see any. In fact, the only 6 that we have is in Russia. But Russia right now, of course, is halted, right? You're not allowed to trade Russia. The irony of it all is if Russia was trading and this thing was a trading instrument, well, this is kind of exactly what I'd want to see. The assets just being given away. And if we zoom in right on this price range, you can see we had a moving average cross. Then, unfortunately, they halted trading. So we're not even really allowed to even look at this right now. But it's just fascinating how this is the only asset in the universe, in the investing universe, that I would consider investable right now. But of course, we all hating Russia right now. But what's fascinating is going through and looking for 5s. And there's almost no 5s. There's a few of them in the country funds. There's one in the sector ETFs. And there's just a pile of them in crypto. So I do find that fascinating that we've got like almost the entire crypto universe is basically sitting at the bottom end of its range. And it's just waiting for permission to get the bull market going again. So I thought that was an interesting sort of side anecdote. When this is a bull, we will see tons of these crypto names all spitting up buy signals here, but we're just not quite there yet. And that's also another sort of reason why I think we still got a little bit more constructive action down below to go. So, Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much, Ben. Always a pleasure working with both of you. Thank you so much for the great karmic thoughts for Liam tomorrow. PMA for the win. All the best. And Ben, I'm going to volunteer you tonight. The only thing left for us to say is...
Bye for now.